Welcome, everybody, to the Sunday edition of the Huddle Hub Podcast. I'm your host, Metal Mike, and today we are going to talk about all the news coming out of this past week in the NFL. We're going to talk a little bit about the NFL draft coming up this Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we're going to recap Week 4 of the UFL. The UFL, we talked about this last week, or on the Tuesday show, about the UFL schedule this week, and the UFL pretty much respecting the fact that it's WrestleMania weekend. If you're a professional wrestling fan, you know that WrestleMania weekend is the biggest wrestling weekend in the world, pro wrestling, right? And I am a wrestling fan. As you can see, I have an AEW flag in back of me. I'm a fan of WWE, fan of AEW, and the UFL really respecting the schedule of WWE and WrestleMania weekend, because they played a game on Thursday night, Friday night, and 2 yesterday. And the second game was over before WrestleMania kicked off. So Week 4 is already in the books in the UFL. We're going to talk about those standings as well. Before we get into everything, though, I want to let you guys know that we are on social media all over the place. That's right. X, TikTok, Instagram, and Epic Studios at the Huddle Hub Pod. You're going to hit the follow button over on YouTube. You're going to hit the subscribe button. That's how you follow on the YouTube. And pretty much make sure you're hitting the follow button on the Twitch channel as well. All of our links to all of our social medias are in the Twitch bio. You just click on the social media that you desire to go to, because not everybody is on every social media platform. Make sure you're helping us build the Huddle Hub Podcast through the 2026 NFL Draft and beyond. All right, so let's get into UFL, the UFL Week 4 recap. Starting off with the Houston Gamblers taking on the Louisville Kings on Thursday night. Recapping just some of the quarterback stats. Jason Bean of the Louisville Kings, 17 of 34, 192 yards, and 1 interception, no touchdowns. 50% completion percentage by Jason Bean, which isn't bad. I believe this is his second best completion percentage this year. That's something I'm going to have to double check on. But looking at his stats, I think this was his second best completion percentage this year, which isn't the best. But, you know, one thing you got to remember about the UFL, these are guys that did not get drafted in the NFL, you know, came out of college and you know, didn't qualify to make it into the NFL. But they qualified to be able to make it into the UFL, which is great. That's the great thing about having the UFL, because these guys go out and play, and then NFL teams during training camp will say, hey, we want to sign this guy because he played his backside off in the UFL. So that's the great thing about the UFL, is the UFL is basically that second chance for these guys that want to make it into the NFL and want to play pro football. Just like the International Arena Football League, which kicked off yesterday. And that's something that I did not look into, actually. I meant to look into it. But let's look at that real quick. We'll bring that up, and then we'll talk about that. But you think about the UFL, and it's like this league, you know, it has a purpose. So it's producing players that did not make it to the NFL and are now catching the eye of some of the NFL teams. So there's no scores yet as far as the International Arena Football League, and they kicked off yesterday. The England Eruptors took on the Glasgow Tartans. The Zurich Ibex took on the Dusseldorf Warriors, and then in the United States, the division for the United States, the Pennsylvania Benjamins took on the Las Vegas Rockers in Las Vegas, and again, I mean, WrestleMania in Las Vegas, that's huge. An arena team kicking off on WrestleMania weekend. Crazy part is their game started at 6:30 p.m. So that's right around the time WrestleMania ended. So you could have went to the Las Vegas Rockers arena game after WrestleMania ended if you were there. And then the Cincinnati Slingers take on the Utah Great Eights today. So no scores posted for this, which is kind of upsetting to see, because I was really into checking out how this International Arena Football League was going to pan out, and it would have been great. 15 regular season weeks, 10 clubs, 4 countries represented, and 60 games scheduled. So, man, it would have been great to know who won what game. And it doesn't have scores, which kind of stinks. This kind of stinks. It would have been great to see some scores. I'm just saying. Well, we'll have to keep an eye out and see if any scores come across, and if so, we'll try and have them for Tuesday. But, yeah, International Arena Football League kicking off yesterday, and no scores put up. But back to the UFL, I mean, that is. A lot of people don't feel like the UFL serves a purpose, but it does, because some of these guys are going to get signed by NFL teams when we get to training camp and the UFL season is over. So, but Jason Bean, Louisville Kings, I believe, again, this is his second best completion percentage of the season. Something I'm going to have to double check on because I might be wrong on that. Talia Tungavailoa, 7 of 14, 64 yards for the Houston Gamblers. And then Nolan Henderson, 4 of 7 for 43 yards. So it looks like the Houston Gamblers, I did not get to catch this game on Thursday night. So it looks like something might have happened to Tungavailoa to where Nolan Henderson had to come in. Or I noticed that sometimes they have 2 quarterback sets. I think they run a 2 quarterback set. I think they do. I think they split the snaps between Nolan Henderson and Talia Tungavailoa. I think they do. It wouldn't surprise me. But the Houston Gamblers losing to the Louisville Kings 24-22. Louisville Kings picking up their first win of the season. They are 1-3. The Houston Gamblers move to 1-3 on the season. The next score of the weekend, the Dallas Renegades took on the Columbus Aviators. The Columbus Aviators upsetting the Dallas Renegades 28-14. The Columbus Aviators winning their first game of the season and giving the Renegades their first loss. For the Dallas Renegades, Austin Reed, quarterback, 13 of 27, 144 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. And over for the Columbus Aviators, Jalen McClendon went 10 of 15, 126 yards, and 1 touchdown. Great stats by Jalen McClendon for the Columbus Aviators, and for them to pick up their first win of the season against a very strong Dallas Renegades team. That's a huge, huge win. And I was listening to the NFL Network on SiriusXM yesterday, and one of the guys talking on the show is the head coach of the Columbus Aviators, and he was talking very strongly about Columbus yesterday. It was nice to hear on an NFL Network them talking about a UFL team. It was like, this league is going to grow, and a lot of people don't believe that's going to happen, but I believe that's going to happen. I believe by next year, the UFL is going to be a pretty popular league to be watching. So the DC Defenders yesterday took on the St. Louis Battlehawks in a battle of the 2-1 teams. The DC Defenders end up winning 28-22. They moved to 3-1. The St. Louis Battlehawks are now 2-2 on the season. Quarterback stats, Harrison Frost of the St. Louis Battlehawks, 6 of 21. 144 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, a 28.6 completion percentage. That is not good. Not good at all. 6 completed passes. And it doesn't look like they really ran the ball too much. They ran the ball 19 times with five rushers. Jarvian Howard, 8 carries for 85 yards. Harrison Frost ran the ball himself, 2 for 23. Kylan James, 4 carries for 13 yards. Kevon Latulis, 3 carries, 10 yards, 1 touchdown. And then Michael Pratt, 2 carries, 8 yards. So, and I believe Michael Pratt is a quarterback. I believe he's a quarterback out there in St. Louis as well. For the DC Defenders, Jordan Ta'amu, 22 of 36, 204 yards, 2 touchdowns, a 61.1 completion percentage, 95.1 rating, which is not bad. Not bad at all. as the DC Defenders end up picking up the win over the St. Louis Battlehawks 28-22. And then we get into the game that ended the week. Sorry about that. Fantasy baseball goes off. Turn my phone on silent. The Orlando Storm defeated the Birmingham Stallions 16-0. I believe this is actually the first shutout of the season. I would have to double check the scorecard, but I believe this is the first shutout of the season. The Orlando Storm moving to 4-0, the only undefeated team left in the league, as they beat the Birmingham Stallions 16-0. Birmingham moves to 1-3 on the year. And looking at the quarterback stats, Jack Plummer of the Orlando Storm, 17-27, 182 yards, 1 touchdown. And Matt Corral for the Birmingham Stallions, 13-20, 83 yards. And Michael Hears of the Stallions, 7-15 for 60 yards. So a rough go for them Birmingham Stallions in week 4 against the Orlando Storm. We're going to give you a preview of week 5 on Tuesday night on the Tuesday edition of the Huddle Hub podcast. Let's look at the standings really quick for the UFL, as the Orlando Storm are in first place at 4-0, the Defenders in second place at 3-1, the Renegades at 3-1 in third, and the Battlehawks at 2-2 in fourth place. Those would be your playoff teams. The Kings in fifth, the Gamblers in sixth, the Aviators in 7th, and the Stallion in 8th, all at 1-3. So your top 4 teams would be your playoff teams. If the playoffs were to start today in the UFL, then the Orlando Storm would take on the St. Louis Battlehawks, and the DC Defenders would take on the Dallas Renegades. I believe that's how that would go for the UFL because of them changing their playoff set this year. The top 4 teams make the playoffs. So I believe it would be 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3. And then the winners of those goes to the UFL championship. No divisions this year in the UFL. None, which is great. I love how they're doing this. So it would be nice to see some teams get creative for others, for some states. It would be awesome, if we had a New York team, a Pennsylvania team. It would be awesome if at one point this league grew to at least a 16-team league. That would be awesome. 8 teams in each division. You could split it up again, and then the top 4 teams in each division make the playoffs for their respective divisions, and the winners face off in the championship. That would be awesome. So, but that's the UFL standings. If the playoffs were to start today, we'll go. Like I said, we will preview week 5 in the UFL coming up on the Tuesday edition of the Huddle Hub podcast, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Twitch and YouTube. So we got some news to talk about coming out of the NFL today. I can't promise this is going to be a very long show today. We might make it to 60 minutes. We might not. The past couple shows, we have not made it to the full 60 minutes. Actually, no, Tuesday we did. We did we did a live mock draft on Tuesday, and I planned on doing one today. But I woke up this morning. I'm a little tired, not going to lie. I am, and I'm ready to kind of chill out. But the show needs to go on. So we're going to get through the news today, and then I think that's where we're going to call it. So let's take a about 30-second break right here on the Huddle Up podcast. We'll be right back, and then we'll get into the news, and we'll talk a little bit about the NFL draft that's coming up this weekend. All right, guys, so make sure you're heading over to the Huddle Up Podcast over on social media after the show today, over on Instagram, TikTok, X, and on Epic Studios at the Huddle Up Pod. You're going to hit that follow button. Over on the YouTube, you're going to hit the subscribe button. That's how you follow on the YouTube. You hear subscription, you're thinking, I have to pay something? No, you don't have to pay anything. Nothing at all. You just hit subscribe and you follow, and you get everything that's available on the Huddle Hub Podcast YouTube channel. And right here on Twitch, you hit that follow button. All of our links to all of our social medias are in the Twitch bio. You just click on the one you desire to go to and help us build the Huddle Hub Podcast going through the 2026 NFL Draft and beyond. All right, guys. So we're going to get into the news that has come out this past week in the NFL. The past couple of weeks, it's been rough. Not a lot of news. Now we're getting closer to the draft, and a lot of news is starting to come out. A lot of chitter chatter, a lot of talk. And one thing that makes me happy is that Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni of the Philadelphia Eagles, general manager Howie Roseman and head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, Nick Sirianni, held a press conference this past week. And the question about trading A.J. Brown came up again. Of course it did. Why didn't it, right? Well, Howie Roseman shut that down by saying, you know, what makes you think that anything, how I answer this, is going to change? 50%, 60%, 20%. And then as the reporter was talking, Howie Roseman said, A.J. Brown is an Eagle. So, and it has been reported that it's been weeks since teams have called and talked to Howie about a trade for A.J. Brown. The last team to even hint a fact of a trade for A.J. Brown that's reported is the Cleveland Browns. So, I mean, we know the Cleveland Browns do have the draft stock to make a trade for A.J. Brown because the Eagles are looking for at least 2 first-round picks. And the Browns have 3 between this year and next year. They have 2 this year, and they have their 1 next year. So they have the draft capital to do so. But Howie Roseman states that A.J. Brown is a Philadelphia Eagle. Now, there's still the talk of him not being traded until after June 1st because of the $40 million cap hit that the Eagles would take. But as it sits right now, I mean, the teams that are acquiring for A.J. Brown, if they go out and draft a wide receiver in the draft, then I think those trade talks would lower and make people believe more that A.J. Brown will be a Philadelphia Eagle in 2026. And I believe he will be a Philadelphia Eagle in 2026. I don't think he gets traded. I hope he doesn't get traded. And I want to see A.J. Brown in an Eagles uniform in 2026. Last year was a mess, and we all know that. But I think it was more so of everything that was going on with the offensive coordinator and all that stuff. Now that Sean Mannion's coming in, you know, the Eagles go out and get Dontavian Wicks, and he says, guys, get ready. This is going to be some fun this year. And with A.J. Brown hearing that, I think A.J. is going to be excited. So A.J. Brown, I think, is going to stick around and be a Philadelphia Eagle in 2026. So, but yeah, that is the first reported news that has come out this week. Brandon Allen, quarterback, signs with the Giants. Cameron Sample, defensive lineman, signs with the 49ers. Let's see if there's any other signings. No, there was no other free agent signings that have happened this week other than Brandon Allen and Cameron Sample. Nasir Adderley, safety, after 3 seasons being out of the NFL, has signed with the Indianapolis Colts. So welcome back to the league, Nasir Adderley. And I didn't even know Nasir Adderley was out of the league. I didn't know that. I had no clue. I thought he was still in the league, but with how many players are in this league, you can't keep track of all of them. So welcome back to the league, Nasir Adderley. Congratulations on signing with the Colts, and good luck. I mean, the Colts look like they are ramping up to be a team to get back to where they were in the first 8 weeks of the 2025 season. I mean, they were, 6-1, 7-1 before Daniel Jones goes down? So, I mean, and they signed Daniel Jones. The Colts are rearing up to be a team to take a run for that AFC South. And I believe that they would have probably won the AFC South this past season if Daniel Jones didn't go down. They were hot. Jonathan Taylor was on pace to break the rushing record. and then things slowed down. So, yeah, Colts might be one of those teams that repeat what they started doing, and Daniel Jones might stay healthy, and the Colts might make a run for things here. So, defensive lineman of the Houston Texans, Will Anderson, signs a 3-year, $150 million extension, making him the highest paid non-quarterback in league history. His guarantee is $134 million. So congratulations to Will Anderson for becoming the highest paid non-quarterback in the league with his extension. Let me start that one over. We're going to do that one at 25:30 because I kind of want to clip that. Will Anderson, defensive lineman of the Houston Texans, has signed a 3-year, $150 million extension with the Texans, $134 million guaranteed. This makes him the highest paid non-quarterback in the league. So congratulations, Will Anderson, for becoming the highest paid non-quarterback in the league, in league history. Yeah. So the Houston Texans getting Will Anderson for another 3 seasons. Let me do that one more time. Will Anderson, defensive lineman of the Texans, he signed a 3-year, $150 million extension with a $134 million guarantee. This makes him the highest paid non-quarterback in league history. Okay. Sometimes you got to just do things so you can clip social media stuff. So that's one of them. Okay. All Elite Wrestling has partnered with the NFL in 2026. Yes, All Elite Wrestling has partnered with, oh God. So guys, as you know, WWE and the NFL, they have a partnership for championship belts. If you go on WWEshop.com, you see that they have every team but the Jacksonville Jaguars for a championship belt. Well, the reason for that is because of AEW. As we know, the Khan family are the owners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and AEW, oh, damn it. I want to do this one. This is another one. So guys, as you know, if you go on WWEshop.com and you go under the championship belt section, they have an NFL championship belt section. They have 31 of the 32 teams as championship belts. The only team not there, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Why? Because the Jacksonville Jaguars are owned by the Khan family, and the Khan family owns All Elite Wrestling. Well, All Elite Wrestling has announced that they partnered with the NFL to release lucha masks for all 32 NFL teams, which are available right now over on AEWshop.com. So go get your lucha mask right now. I plan on getting my Philadelphia Eagles one. Which team are you guys getting? Something you guys may not have known, that there have only been 3 teams in NFL draft history that have never picked first overall in draft history. The Baltimore Ravens, the Denver Broncos, and the Seattle Seahawks never had the first overall pick in the draft. How crazy is that? That just shows that these teams, they know how to have a winning season, or at least know how to win enough to not be first overall. I mean, if you look at the history of the Baltimore Ravens, the Denver Broncos, and the Seattle Seahawks, even in the past 10 seasons, and I have this statistic, I actually saved this. Oh, no, I did not save this statistic. Well, let's look at it. Every team's worst season, the Baltimore Ravens went 4-12 back in 1996. That was their worst season. The Denver Broncos, their worst season was 2010. They went 4-12. And the Seattle Seahawks, their worst season was 2-14 in 1992. Which kind of baffles me, because how is that possible that they are one of the only 3 teams to not have a first overall pick? Well, because teams trade for that spot. And I believe that teams may have traded for those spots when they were the first overall pick. So those are the only 3 teams reported that have never had a first overall pick. So, yeah, it's crazy. The Raiders have been getting calls about the number 1 overall pick in the draft. Now, I've been saying that I believe the Arizona Cardinals are going to make a move for the number 1 overall pick. Reason being is I don't think the Raiders, with picking up Kirk Cousins and that deal that they made with him a couple weeks ago, I don't think the Raiders are drafting Fernando Mendoza. I don't. Even if the Raiders stay in the number 1, I don't think Mendoza is going to go number 1 to the Raiders. I don't. I think the draft is going to get shaken up. I think the Raiders have more plans with Kirk Cousins, or they are waiting for next year's draft when more quarterbacks are available. Because Fernando Mendoza, let's be honest, he is the top quarterback in this draft. Next up would be Ty Simpson, who can very easily see himself falling into the second round. Yeah, his draft stock rose a little bit, but Ty Simpson, he still could be available in the second round. Now, I think Pittsburgh might make that blockbuster pick in the first round and take Ty Simpson. I believe that. A lot of people are saying it. But he's a quarterback that if Pittsburgh would decide not to go Ty Simpson in the first round, they might be able to get him in the second round. Fernando Mendoza is the quarterback in this draft. Now, there's other quarterbacks that would have been if things didn't happen, like Drew Aller. He was projected to be a first round, but then he got hurt. Now he fell, and he's going to be a third, fourth round draft pick, which is crazy. So I could see the Raiders trading out of this first pick, and 2 teams I could see taking this, the Arizona Cardinals or the Cleveland Browns. Now, a lot of questions about the Cleveland Browns. Deshaun Watson, is he going to start, or are they going to move him? Shedeur Sanders, did they really have that much belief in Shedeur Sanders? I don't think so. I think Cleveland, when you look at it, at the beginning of the 2025 season, drafting Dylan Gabriel, drafting Shedeur Sanders, Deshaun Watson's on the board, Kenny Pickett comes in. Their quarterback room was a mess. I think Cleveland wants to clean up that quarterback room. And how do they do that? They move things. Deshaun Watson gets moved, gone, eat his dead cap. Shedeur Sanders gets put into that deal to the Raiders, and Shedeur on his way to the Raiders. Dylan Gabriel hasn't shown up in the building, and if he does, he's a backup, and he knows it. And Kenny Pickett, I believe. I think Kenny Pickett's a free agent, actually. Kenny Pickett, I believe, is a free agent, already signed with somebody. But anyways, Kenny Pickett, not a starter. No. Fernando Mendoza would be the guy in Cleveland. So I could see Cleveland making that move and making those moves happen. Now, Arizona, they also have the draft capital to trade away for that number 1 spot. So don't be surprised if Arizona and Cleveland are one of the 2 teams that, number 1, have been making the calls for that number 1 pick, but number 2, making that move. And they will sweeten that deal to get Fernando Mendoza. But I think with Vegas signing Kirk Cousins, they're playing it smart. They're going to run with Cousins this year, see how he does. See what the draft board looks like next year, what quarterbacks are going to come out, and make their move next year. Because next year is going to be defensive heavy, line and backs, and offensive line heavy. So even if the Raiders end with a good record, let's say 8-9, so they're in the middle of the pack when it comes to drafting, they'll still be able to get a quarterback. I think the Raiders know this, and they're going to start playing smart football here. Instead of, oh man, we got number 1, let's get Fernando. No, I don't see it. So I won't be surprised if the Raiders trade out of this number 1 pick and don't go after Fernando Mendoza. And if they stick around the number 1 pick, I won't be surprised if they don't take him. I'm just saying. Last order of business to talk about: the Giants and the Bengals late last night made a trade. The Cincinnati Bengals will receive defensive tackle Dexter Lawrence, and in return, the Giants get the 10th overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft. The last time that a trade like this, a player for a pick, straight up has happened, was in 2005 when the Minnesota Vikings traded Randy Moss to the Raiders in return for the 7th overall pick in the draft. So it's been years since a trade like this has happened, a player for a pick. And now the New York Giants have not one, but 2 top 10 picks. They have the 5th overall and now the 10th overall. So Giants fans, be excited about that because you got 2 top 10 picks, which is insane. Insane to have. So that's all I got for you guys. That's it. That's all we have in the news. And let's talk NFL draft real quick. The 2026 NFL draft is coming up on Thursday, April 23rd at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, as you guys know, like I said earlier, I'm a little tired today. So if we end early today, it's no big deal. We just had some stuff to get through. We were going to do a mock draft today with trades, but I'm going to be honest with you guys. This week was a little bit of a tiring week because it's starting to get nicer out. So your body got to kind of get used to it being nice out and everything like that. And then you wake up today and we literally have a freeze warning because it's raining. It's cold. There's a possible freeze warning now. It's April. Why? It's supposed to be 70-something degrees and sunny and birds chirping and flowers growing and all. Nope. It is raining and we have a freeze warning as it sits right now. It is 47 degrees. 47 degrees, but it is cold. It is cold out today. But as you guys know, I have been working. I've been back to work since last week. A little bit of a tiring week this week because it's been warm out and everything like that, you know, getting used to it being warm and everything. So I really didn't get to work on a mock draft with trades. Okay? So we're not going to do it today. We're not. Instead, me and John on Tuesday's episode are going to do a mock draft together. I'm going to be picking for all the AFC teams, and he is going to be picking for the NFC teams. Okay? So that's how we are going to do basically the 2.0 version of the Huddle Hub Podcast mock draft. And that's how we're going to do it. But we have the NFL draft coming up, and I actually got to change that. I didn't change that. Oh my gosh. I got to change the Cincinnati Bengals thing because they are now not the number 10 pick. There we go. Sorry, Giants fans, I forgot to fix it. But with the draft coming up on Thursday, you know, and I'm back to work and everything like that. I do work on Thursdays. If I'm able to get out of work early enough, we are going to be doing a round 1, night 1 watch along on our TikTok channel. Okay, at the Huddle Hub Pod. Just go over, hit that follow button, and if I'm home on time from work on Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening, then we are going to do a watch along for the NFL draft, night 1, round 1. Okay. As far as round 2, round 3 on Friday, again, if I'm home on time and everything, we'll go live on Friday and we'll do a watch along for round 2, round 3 as well. Okay. So go over to the Huddle Hub Podcast on TikTok, hit that follow button at the Huddle Hub Pod, and keep your eye out for us to go live on Thursday or Friday or both for the watch along for round 1 on Thursday, round 2 and 3 on Friday. Okay. But as it sits right now, looking at the draft order, the Las Vegas Raiders have the 1, the New York Jets have 2, Cardinals have 3. Let's start that over. The Las Vegas Raiders are at 1, the New York Jets are at 2, the Arizona Cardinals at 3, the Tennessee Titans are at 4, The New York Giants are at 5. The Cleveland Browns are at 6. The Washington Commanders are at 7. The New Orleans Saints are at 8. The Kansas City Chiefs are at 9. The New York Giants are back at 10. The Miami Dolphins are at 11. The Dallas Cowboys at 12. The Los Angeles Rams are 13. The Baltimore Ravens are 14. Tampa Bay Bucks are 15. New York Jets are 16. The Detroit Lions are 17. The Minnesota Vikings at 18. The Carolina Panthers at 19. The Dallas Cowboys at 20. Pittsburgh Steelers at 21. Los Angeles Chargers at 22. The Philadelphia Eagles at 23. The Cleveland Browns at 24. The Chicago Bears at 25. The Buffalo Bills are at 26. San Francisco 49ers are at 27. Houston Texans at 28. Kansas City Chiefs at 29. Miami Dolphins at 30. New England Patriots at 31. And Seattle Seahawks, defending Super Bowl champs, are at 32. That is the draft order for round 1, night 1. I believe that we are going to have some trades in round 1. I do. I believe we are going to see some trades in round 1, and they're going to happen early. I'm talking in the top 10. We're going to see it happen. Teams are going to be fighting for position. It's going to happen. I believe it, but we'll have to see it. But just to let you guys know, watch along for Thursday night. If I am home on time to start the watch along, we are going to do a watch along for night 1, round 1, and the same thing for Friday. If I'm home on time, we will do a watch along for round 2 and 3 on night 2. So with that being said, guys, that's it. 40 minutes. We don't have much to talk about today. I'm going to get out of here. But before we do, again, one more time, make sure you're heading over to the Huddle Hub Podcast over on social media on Instagram, X, TikTok, and Epic Studios. Hit that follow button over on the YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. That's how you follow on the YouTube. And on Twitch at the Huddle Hub Podcast. Make sure you're hitting that follow button. All the links to all of our social medias are in the bio of the Twitch channel. You just click on the one you desire to go to because not everybody uses every social media. I know that. And make sure you're helping us build the Huddle Hub Podcast through the 2026 NFL Draft and beyond. If you guys want to follow me on social media on Instagram, X, YouTube, and TikTok, Metal Mike 714, that's where you can find me. I plan on doing some live streaming coming up. I had to get used to the work schedule and everything like that. I'm good to go. Used to it and everything like that. So we're going to get back to doing some live streaming here pretty soon on my personal channels, especially that YouTube. I got to start working on that YouTube. I do. I've been saying it for weeks. I got to get on it. Metal Mike 714 is where you can find me and follow me if you want to find me on social media. Other than that, that is it, guys. Be good to each other. Be kind to each other. Take care of each other. Be patient with each other. Remember, the world is not moving as fast as you think. We will see you guys for the Tuesday edition of the Huddle Hub Podcast. Until then, have a great weekend. Deuces.